You just tuned in to Up for Discussion.
Just 1, 2. Alright. One, two. Check 1, 2. I'm in the ears. Check. Microphone check. 1, 2. Yeah.
All right. Here we are this evening for episode 45 of Up for Discussion. And
get up and discuss it.
That's right. So this evening we'll be talking about the evolution of the hunter. Episode 45, the evolution of the hunter. We're going to be looking at a few things that over the years has changed for me and Lathan in regards to how we hunt, and also be looking at maybe what the future even looks like of hunting. And there's several topics that I think a guy could, really peel off into if he wasn't careful, for sure. But for everybody watching, we appreciate it. If you wouldn't mind, like, share, comment. We're really trying to grow this thing. I feel like I've been, harping on that pretty hard, but that's right. So if you wouldn't mind, like, share, comment. If you're on YouTube, give us the thumbs up and subscribe as well. So
ask a question.
Yeah. If tonight you guys have questions for us, we'll make sure. If you guys wouldn't mind, let us know. Can you hear us well? Last week or the last podcast, we were not thrilled with the audio. And so we're trying to make sure we've got all those things fine-tuned because, man, this is a beast that we have fought pretty hard.
And I always reiterate that I'm probably absolutely no help.
Well,
sitting here and saying, yeah, sounds like it's working to me.
Yeah, he's virtually no help. So, so if you guys wouldn't mind, let us know on that.
I'm not help virtually.
Dwight Klein, Rob says, sounding good. So
good deal.
Awesome. That's what we want to hear. It's always good if you guys can hear what we're saying. So,
yeah, that's nice. Nice.
So this evening, we're going to be talking about the evolution of hunting. And whenever we were kind of prepping on this and prepping about the things that we wanted to talk about, one of the pictures that I came across was this group of guys all wearing their orange. And this weekend, guys are out doing their thing here in Illinois. The Orange Army is out. But hunting was a very community-driven thing and very community-oriented. And I thought that picture really resonated on that. And I think there's elements of that we miss, and elements of that we've walked away from. And I think that's a shame. Do you have any thoughts on that?
Well, I was thinking of it like this a little bit as you were getting ready. I was trying to ponder where I started and what I am now, and I'm not against what I am now.
Yeah.
But there's an element of your first 3 or 4 years of, let's just say, archery hunting, because that's my passion. There's an element of the first 3 or 4 years of that it's like, I was like, how do I explain what I feel? Because you would love to be able to go back to that.
Yeah.
But ultimately you can't.
No.
Because you can't go back in the past.
It's development.
And I can't unlearn what I've learned. And I can't.
Nor would you choose to.
No, I wouldn't want to.
Yeah.
So I thought the best way, we're coming up on Christmas, or for me to realize, Christmas is still, with your family and stuff, is still amazing, and you love it, and Christmas morning is exciting, but it's not the same as it was when I was in the 4th grade or 3rd grade.
Are you sure?
I'm pretty sure. And it's like every once in a while you think, man, I miss the not being able to sleep.
Sure.
Before Christmas morning. I don't know if anybody else did.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, I can't sleep. I
can't tell you how many times the beginning of deer season,
right,
I laid awake.
My first, I would say my first 6 to 8 years, I could not sleep hardly the night before deer season.
Yeah.
I was so excited. Now, I was making that comparison to Christmas because I'm still excited about Christmas. I'm
Yeah.
still excited about deer season. But how do I put words to it's not the same?
How are you comparing the birth of our Lord to?
Well,
I'm just teasing you, man.
the present getting as a kid side of Christmas. No, you get older and I get older and now I just, watch all my kids and
Sure.
and son-in-laws and which I'll have for the first time this year. I'll watch them open presents and you enjoyed that. And you might get a thing or two, but
well, Rodney said something that to me really resonates. And what it is he said, I miss the check stations.
I miss the
at Clark's.
Yeah. I miss the check stations.
Absolutely. Because
we made mention of the check station today.
And I remember as a kid going there with my dad, and my dad didn't even deer hunt.
Yeah.
But it was like, there was something about, let's go see what the guys in the community have killed this year.
Oh man, especially gun season. It
Oh.
was such a big deal gun season. But even during bow hunting, if you killed something, in the heart of really good hunting, Halloween to the first gun season, when you went to check it in bow hunting, 9 times out of 10 you was going to get to see somebody else's deer. They'd swing that door open to the locker and you'd be like, are you kidding me? Did you see the size of that buck hanging in there? And it was a conversation piece.
They didn't leave it open long and you felt like you had really seen something.
I was like, there was a monster buck hanging in there, in the meat locker that they hadn't skinned out yet and hadn't caped out. And he was just hanging there. And you wanted to go in there and see him up closer, but it was always the mystic of what's going to be there. And especially, like we said earlier, gun season, man, it was a big deal. You just hoped somebody killed something so you could ride with them to the check station. Because I remember a couple times being in line, Rodney may remember this, others may remember this, as a kid, sitting in the vehicle with deer in your bed of your truck and waiting 30, 40 minutes.
Yeah.
To get your deer checked in. That's how many deer were ahead of you. And they were slapping them and jerking them out there. And if you were leaving it at the locker, ripping it into the locker. And if they, it was an excitement thing. So
I would like to know this for anybody that's watching that is from a different state. Does your state have a check-in system that is a station? Because for me, that was an awesome thing. I loved going to the check-in station, checking in my deer, even if it was a doe.
Sure.
You got a little button and you just felt special.
Yeah.
Like you felt like you had done something.
Got my button.
That's right. So I wonder if there's any other states that still have the check-in station, because to me, that is something that when Illinois went away from it, I was like, I hate this. I hate, the unpersonable calling it in or
talking to a machine.
Oh man,
automation and
makes me want to puke.
Please say what county you killed it in.
Wayne.
And I'm always like,
we heard Fulton.
And I'm always over enunciating. It's like Wayne, because you're trying to, because it'll say we heard White.
Yeah. I think everybody who has done it is
and I'm like, no, but you can't just say no because they don't hear you. You have to go back. Yeah. Please repeat.
I've called that thing stupid more than once. Oh man,
pretty wild.
Yeah.
Dwight says that he got to work with the Winlands and his dad, I believe.
Oh man,
and
that's awesome.
They were a check station, so he remembers that. Says he'll remember that stuff for the rest of his life. There are times at the check station I can't tell you, but I do still have vivid memories of that.
Yep.
Of seeing maybe one of the first times at the check station on like a Friday night of the first gun season, and there was a pile of deer as big as this room.
Yeah, I remember being like, is mine going to be by its own? Is that going to be my deer?
No, I remember thinking, there's none left. We've killed them all, but it was just a pile of deer. It was such a cool thing. And guys back in there wearing a plastic apron and just skinning them as fast as you could skin them.
Let me ask you this. Have we left something that we should go back to?
Oh, most definitely.
Yeah.
I would
think so
say
too.
most definitely. I think that was an element. Deer camps were a bigger deal then. When I say deer camps, families getting together. We started one in Boogerville, and
That's right. There is a Boogerville.
There is a Booger
Legit.
But if you're from around here, you know that.
Yeah.
If you're listening to us from afar, from Southern Illinois, you probably have never heard, and you may
Yep.
think I'm joking. But there is a Boogerville. My grandpa lived in it, and he loved gun season. He was not one that was going to sit around and wait for Big Thomas or Big Louie or Big
Yeah.
John Henry or Big High Topper, all these different names we come up with, Righty and Lefty and Whitey and Tidy and High and Tide and Fred and Zed and whatever other name that we name these bucks because of cameras today.
Yeah.
He wasn't that guy. He had 2 tags in his pocket.
What was he going for, though?
The first
He was going to
2.
feed his family.
The first 2. Well, they didn't have to have deer meat to feed
They
themselves.
didn't have to.
They didn't have
They
to.
appreciated it.
They appreciated it. They liked it.
Yeah.
Wanted to eat it. I mean, I don't have to eat a double quarter pounder from McDonald's, but gosh, every once in a while I like it, so I stop and get one. But he was going to shoot, from the best I could tell, the first 2 that come by. The first 2 deer that come by, if they came by in sequence.
Yeah.
He was going to put 2 12-gauge Foster, slick-barreled Remington 1100 gas-operated gun that he sighted in every year with a Roebuck Sears catalog. And you might say, I don't know what that means. If you know what it means, you know what it means.
Yeah.
I can allude a little bit. Put a catalog around the barrel, stick it in the fork of a tree, and spring and work the barrel until, excuse you.
Thank you.
Or bless you, one or the other. Until you get that thing to shoot close to where you wanted it to hit.
Here's my thing. I think that's part of the reason why with this shop, I'm so adamant about, if there's guys that want to come here and hang out, come hang out. Because
we like to hang out.
Yes.
I mean, you have to understand at times we have to work.
But there's elements of, I like that.
Don't be offended, but
like
you can stand around while we work.
The community watering hole where guys come and tell what, they've seen and what their hunts were like for the week. And that part of it, I love. And I always have. Like me and you, we've hunted together for years.
Mm-hmm.
And it's only been in the last few years that we've started hunting by ourselves. And a lot of people would not understand that, but for years we were in the same tree.
Mm-hmm.
And there's elements that I'm like, man, I miss that camaraderie of it.
A lot of stories and
sure.
time. Sometimes just quiet. You stare
good grief.
You stare in one direction, me stare in the other. But other times, lots of whisper conversations.
Sure.
Because you would talk like this the whole time you're out there. But
and
nonetheless, conversations nonetheless.
There's bucks that I don't remember at all and you remember. So,
yeah.
But that being said,
it goes both ways though. You'll every once in a while bring up a story. He's like, you remember when we went to such and such? Yeah. And I was like, no. And finally, maybe you hit something. I was like, oh yeah, I guess I do remember that.
Trigger the memory.
Trigger it.
Yeah. All right. I agree, Dwight. It was something that brought the hunting community closer together.
Because now we're talking about the evolution of the hunter, the hunt, and us personally. Now it is it's almost a big secret.
Yeah. Everybody's like, don't come to my place.
Yeah.
And I don't like that. There's been times when I've told people, hey, I've got a good one. Why don't you come and hunt at my spot?
Right.
Because I want someone to experience the things that I've experienced in it,
And it's turned into more of a, man, let's just call it for what it is. Is that okay? Turned more into a selfish, secret, see who can put their tag on the best one possible, and I can't invite you to hunt with me because you may mess it up for me.
Or you might kill the one that I've been watching all summer.
Yeah, because people call them, you know, and I've said this, and I may have said it on here, but nowadays, and I understand people, you know, you're innocent in it, but listen to how you sound sometimes because you say the neighbor killed
my deer,
my buck.
Yeah.
And I was like, no, the neighbor killed his buck.
Yeah.
Because it's his buck soon as his tag goes on that buck.
That's right.
Or that doe, or that 2-year-old, or that 3-year-old, or that fawn. Fawn? Hey, that's the sweet meat, baby. We used to go after the sweet meat. My grandpa used to say when they still got milk slobbers in the corner of their mouth, those are the best eating. You don't get as much, but those are the best eating. And those are the best eating. You know, big rabbits.
That's basically what they are.
They're big rabbits. But anyhow, and somebody might think that's awful, but there was a time when it was just hunting. And I go back to my grandpa Hooper, and it was like, if he killed a nice buck, it's because a nice buck was the first thing that come by him.
Yeah.
And that's okay.
And he was glad.
And he was glad.
But if it was a doe, he was glad.
He was glad. Yeah. Frustrated when he missed a doe, frustrated when he missed a buck. He was, because he wanted to, choked on my cookie. But he was wanting to just go out there, hunt, and shoot a deer in general.
So we've definitely walked away from things that I feel like it would be awesome if we got those back.
To somehow get them back.
How do we get those back? Is there a way?
The check station's probably not going to happen.
Why?
Well, because the state of Illinois probably found that it's way more affordable for it to not be there. I'm sure there was some sort of reimbursement. It probably wasn't near what it was worth, but
was there?
I don't know. That's a question
I mean,
somebody
I assume
would have to answer. But
you applied to be a check-in station, and the fact that you were got you business.
Right, it got you business. Sure,
yeah,
sure. Like because a lot of the lockers, Clark's, Windlands, I don't know any of them east of here, but those two were the big ones around here. Clark's is still in existence today. Windlands, I don't guess is, but yeah, when they checked in deer, obviously you check it in there. He's like, well, I'll just leave it here. Yeah. So maybe that was their reimbursement. Or
make me some of that sausage you guys make.
Yeah, you got some of them barbecue patties. But I don't know. I just always assume they got some sort of reimbursement to do that from the state, but maybe not.
I'm not sure on that.
But if there was, obviously, if there was, the state's like, well, it's way cheaper just to have them call in and hit some buttons. You know, I mean, so there's that. I guess if
Rodney, enlighten us to what you're meaning there. It was college kids doing the check-in. Were they doing it at the check-in locations, or was it something that they hired college kids to do? I'd like to know that.
Part of their program? Was they in some sort of,
I don't know,
like outdoor biologist program? And that, I don't know either. I don't remember much college kids checking in my deer. I remember some old gray-haired man like, here you go, here's your button, and go on, you know, down to the next one. You know,
they'd write your name down and what you harvested. Yep. Andrew's tuned in, Andrew Wilkinson, and he says, tell people to bring the deer they killed up to Ultra Products, bring the community to the bow shop. We sure are all about that.
Yeah, we've had a couple of guys bring them by and show us, and I want to see them. Let's make a big deal out of it. I don't care if it's an old slick head.
We ought to get buttons.
Make our own buttons.
We ought to get buttons.
There you go. If we make our own buttons, Ultra 19, or no, it's not 19 anymore.
Yeah, we'll get 2025 buttons for next year.
And if you bring your deer, and we'll give you
that's right.
Ultra Products. I mean, maybe we can put a little Illinois state emblem somewhere on there to make it know you got it in Illinois and you get a button.
We'll tell people, get your butt in Ultra and get your button.
How do you bring it back? Well, you just do it yourself.
That's
bring
right.
It back. And we won't actually physically check them in or nothing. Make sure you call your own in if they still have the automated system like that. But come in here and get your button.
That's right. We'll tell the state to put that in their pipe and smoke it.
What a genius idea. Did you just have that?
I think I did.
I think you did.
Well, I only have a genius idea once every few years. So.
Well, you better act upon this one.
The ultra button.
What's Rodney say there? He says Clark's doing check-in. A lot was college students, not all of them.
Huh.
Well,
All right.
that gray-haired guy I was talking about technically could have been in college, I guess.
You never know.
I don't know who it was, but would love to see it. That's where I go back to what I was talking about. Would love to find out a way for certain elements of hunting to be like kids at Christmas again.
Sure. Yeah.
You know, and I go back to what we're saying. We got stuff laid out here, our elevation or evolution of hunting elevation.
Yeah, because a lot has changed in regards to how we hunt.
The business it's a business. It's maybe that's what it is. It's because it's turned into such a business, and obviously we're in the business because we have ultra products.
We're in the business, but how many times have we said we kind of are appalled by elements of what it's went to? It is. Like guys coming in and paying $28,000 or $3,000 for a bow, even though it helps pay rent here. There's elements of that I'm like, that is disgusting. I mean, it's just the truth of it. Like, and that's me torn between being a businessman, but at the same time, like, I just don't like I don't know. I'm not sure how to express that in a way that doesn't also.
Well, I guess it's everything's business to some degree.
Well, that's why when a guy comes in and he's like, outfit me, but I can't spend a fortune, I'm glad to do it.
Sure.
Because I don't need to make, or we don't need to make everything off of one person.
Right.
And
Spread it out.
I'm excited when a guy is getting equipped. I can't tell you what it's meant. Even this year, we've had numerous guys that entered the buck contest or that just sent us pictures, and how many of them was like, this happened because you guys took the time to make sure my setup was correct. And
you was telling me a story earlier about a dad with a boy.
Yeah.
You said it's working for him.
Yeah.
Whatever we did. I mean, it's not all us. We helped him get set up and tuned and all that stuff. And I guess he's whacking them and stacking them.
He is.
There.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, you know,
so much so that Dad said, slow down.
So you're going to have to back off, you know, but I guess I was getting ready to say everything to some degree in life has an element of business in it, because you have to take care of things and you got to, make money, you got to spend money. That's how the world goes around. But how do you keep it business, but like family oriented type,
sure,
camaraderie type thing, and not morph it into something to, I gotta guard me and mine. I need to have better than you've got.
Yeah.
And I need to kill a better deer than you've got. And my identity, I feel like we might be leaving the evolution, but it's part of it.
Yeah.
Because that's what it's turned into, that this is who I am. I'm a big buck killer.
Yeah. Well, what was the conversation that you had earlier in the day about Tim Wells and what he was saying about how, not, and none of this is to poke or prod at anybody, but hunting has just changed.
Yeah, it's kind of turned into
the mindset.
Deer farming.
Yes, it has. And that part of it, I don't know.
A farmer goes out here and he prepares his ground, and he's doing everything he can do to get as many bushels of corn off of an acre as he can.
Yeah.
And hunters have turned into that to some degree. They're going out here, we're planting food plots, we're trying to make sure, like I think I heard Michael Waddell, since we're dropping names, say, it's sacrilege nowadays to shoot a 3.5-year-old. Sacrilege, man. Don't ever do that.
Yeah.
And they're in that mindset to not shoot a 3.5-year-old, got to be a 5-year-old. And that being said, I have no problem I have let several 3.5-year-olds go. I kind of set a goal for myself, wanting to be 4.5 years or older, but you have to change That's okay for you on a personal basis.
There's nothing wrong with
Yeah.
developing personal,
Yes, goals and setting goals and things like that. But what happens is, though, this guy feels like I'm farming. Well, he don't feel like that, but that's what he's doing. He's trying to farm the deer up as big as he can get them, let them get to a certain age. Well, then they cross over on the neighbor when they're 3.5, and they're tickled pink with a 3.5-year-old. Or a 2.5-year-old, or they're my grandpa. If it's brown, it's down. And then that person that feels like they're farming, they, like I said, they don't feel like they're farming, but that's what they're doing. They're farming that deer up to a certain point before he can be harvested, and they're upset when that happens. And that's an evolution side of it that
that's almost the evolution of the industry itself.
And I think the industry steered it that way.
Yeah.
And we go back to Tim Wells. He, like you're saying, we're not knocking anybody. Do whatever you want to do that's legal.
Absolutely.
I don't care if you want to set. I don't care if you build a 700 square foot blind that's got gas heat, comforters.
Today it would have been nice.
Yeah, all that stuff. I don't care. You can have refrigerators, all that stuff in there. That's not for me.
Yeah.
But there's an element of that, like Tim's talking about on his podcast. I think it was, he was talking about, he's like, man, these people don't know how to really hunt.
Yeah.
And people could take offense to that, but he's saying, could these,
and it gets interesting because there's also people who would look at Tim and be like, he doesn't really know how to hunt.
Well, you can say that, but you might want to.
Well, I would never say that.
I wouldn't say that either. I'd say go with him for a year. That man is a hunting machine.
Oh, he's a killer through and through.
Because hunting, for one, is failing and succeeding. And, maybe he's not as scared to fail.
I don't think he's as scared of the opinions of men.
Yeah, I think
as
so
what
too.
Some of these guys are.
I think so. And I kind of look at that as refreshing to me.
Yeah.
But I mean, he was saying, if you can't kill it over a green patch with a certain amount of brush piled up to steer them to a certain corner of the green patch and set in a scent-free box, he's like, it's like,
well, you've changed the whole manner of what was being done to get the deer to do what you wanted it to do
30 years ago.
Yeah.
As he's talking about that, and I'm talking about farming deer, and people can get upset if they want, but let's make a comparison. When the farmer goes to get the corn out of the field nowadays, what's he setting in? A big box with glass doors on it. And now he can pull 40 acres of corn out of the field in a matter of hours instead of weeks or days and days.
Well, and here's another thing. Let me throw this out there. How many small farmers are there?
There's not many left.
There's not. And I think that's why you see a dwindling of the hunters. Yeah.
It's because one hunter has hundreds of acres tied up.
Yeah.
Man, we're stomping toes now. One hunter has hundreds of acres tied up, whether it's his, whether he's leased it, whether it's grandpa's and it got left to him, who knows? I mean, to each their own, and I'm not knocking you if you got it. I'm happy for you if you got 500 acres that only you can step on.
Yeah.
I wish I had that sometimes. But then at the same time, if that would go away, there'd be more hunters.
Yeah, there would be.
Because there's hunters that come in here like, I'm about to just wrap it up, about to wrap it up.
It's unreal how many people say that because they struggle to get ground.
I hunted here and somebody leased it, and now I can't hunt it no more. And my dad sat next to an individual, I believe he's a farmer, had a lot of ground, at a coffee shop, and that farmer was complaining about the deer herd. Eating corn and beans and whatever else. And my dad let him
Uh,
roll. My dad let him roll with his like, I'll just tell you, these guys, I don't kill enough deer and lop, 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 go, go, go. And dad said, he finally said, well, you're the problem. And he said, the guy was almost like, I'm the problem, He said, well, don't you have that however many, maybe hundreds of acres down there and it's leased up, isn't it? He said, yeah, and I don't know if it's out of staters. I'm not against out of staters. Love them. I'm not, I want to be an out of state hunter too. So I can't knock them. We go to Colorado. That's out of state for us. We want to go other places.
But the premise of locking up ground,
yeah,
because that's what they call it, getting that locked up.
Got it locked down, man. I got that locked up. Anyhow, he said, yeah. The farmer's like, well, yeah. And he said, well, how many people are hunting that? He said, I think there's 3 guys from such and such come up there and hunt that, maybe Mississippi or something. They got leased. So 3 guys are hunting 600 acres or something to that nature, several hundred acres. He said, well, what are they? My dad's like, well, he's like, well, they're mostly buck hunting. They are.
Yeah.
Maybe they fill a doe tag. So if you got 3 of them, they all shoot a doe apiece. And if they get lucky, they all get a buck.
Yep.
Lucky, statistically, if you got 3 hunters and they're all just bow hunting, they may not all get a nice buck if they're waiting for a big one.
Sure.
So you're killing maybe, well, at the most, you might have killed 6 deer off that property.
Yeah.
He said, you're the problem. He said, because used to.
That's never going to be received real well.
No, it's not, but it just is what it is. Used to, he said, now used to old Billy Bob and John Boy hunted down here on this end of it and his grandkids. And then, Fred and Jed and what's his name? They were over here. You might have had several neighbors killing 20 head off that property.
And there was a time when the farmers didn't care. They were like, come on.
He's like, just don't tear my roads up. Don't tear my field up.
Don't get stuck.
Kill them, kill them all. They wanted them thinned down because they're eating bushels of corn and bushels of beans, and they're, rubbing and knocking down stalks of corn and different things like that. But
that's right.
Well, we were going to talk about.
We still can.
Okay, we were going to talk about how our individual hunting has changed, and we got on kind of a rant there. But it seems like the day and age that everybody likes to rant, so we might as well get ours in every once in a while too.
Yep. You know what opinions are like?
What are they like?
Just leave that one alone. Oh man. So
like
our hunting has
like
changed.
Eyeballs. Everybody's got almost 2.
Yeah. Yep. So over the years, our hunting has definitely changed.
Sure.
For one, it was changed because we're not, in the same tree like we were. But for 2, even the way that we go about it is different. And I would say the way that we hunt has probably never been the way a lot of people do. And I'm not saying that in arrogance, but just the way that we were going about it because of filming and stuff like that.
Sure.
Like we were very mobile from the beginning. Like we didn't go in and have double sets everywhere. We wanted a scenario where we could literally go into a woods based on what we felt the deer movement was,
right?
And pick a tree out that would fit filming.
Yeah. I think about us, and even before, and we hunted together before we filmed.
Yeah.
So if you go back in the day, we had stands hung, but was notorious. I was like, man, I missed the train on all these small sticks and stands. And
I'm not sure you did, man.
Saddles. Well, I missed it from the
old iron stand was tiny.
Well, I'm just saying I missed it from the stances. I could have somehow made that into a business because I was essentially doing that.
Yeah.
To a great degree.
You were, man.
Way before. I used to, a lot of times, man, there was a lot of times I'd carry 4 screw-in steps with me everywhere I went.
Yeah.
or 5, or what was ever comfortable in a little pocket on a jacket or a little fanny pack or something, just to get in the fork of a tree and stand in the fork of a tree. And it just didn't like to stay in the same place all the time. So that mobile thing has always been. Now, within that, because of the industry and people that were smart enough to be like, I think I can make a product that will help these mobile guys.
Sure.
That's where I possibly missed it.
So, do you think mobile automatically means younger?
Well, we have a good measuring rod here, being the shop and meeting so many people. So you have to think about who comes in and who is what we would call the mobile hunter. And if you don't know what that means the guy that is taking his setup in and out with him virtually every time.
Yeah.
So you'd have to put climbers in there.
You would have to.
If you're a now there
but
are
there's
guys,
a world difference in
there is the guys that run climbers that just leave them on the tree, go jump in them and climb down, jump out of them and go home.
Sure.
That definitely don't count to me. Now, the guy that carries his climber everywhere he goes and he's picking different trees all the time and climbing and trying to fine tune or hunt different areas, that's a mobile hunter.
Yeah. Like we used our climbers
for years,
just like a mobile setup. Like we would run in and it didn't matter if it was a climbing tree.
Yeah, because you have to have the right tree to climb.
Yeah. Basically, when I started hunting with Lathan, I didn't realize I was hunting with a monkey. So he would, a lot of times he'd be like, all right, I'm going to climb up this tree real quick, get everything set up, and you're going to see if you can crawl yourself up in this tree.
To get up here.
Yeah. So it really developed something in me that I am the way I am today because of what he pulled out of me.
Made you more mobile.
Absolutely.
Made you more versatile. And when you have to expound on that, because what we're saying is you started to say you have to have a certain tree.
Yeah.
For a climber. Everybody knows you have to have the right,
roughly 18 inches around, and
can't be too big, too small. It's got to be in there's like a 4 to 6 inch.
Yeah. And you don't want, a limb within,
and you can carry
16 to 18 feet.
Yeah, you carry a little saw and bob off, but you don't want to be bobbing off
Sure
4 and 6 inch limbs. You can bob off some small stuff and go on up. But what we began to do was we would throw our tops in the brush.
Yeah. We just go with our bases
and just shimmy a tree or jump. If we didn't have that tree, if we didn't have that toothpick tree or whatever, and we found one that was, or maybe it was just because it wasn't in the right spot, and we're like, we want to be in that corner.
Yeah.
The sign or what we've seen says be in that corner. We'd go down there. Sometimes we took screw-in steps.
Sure. Yeah.
But other times we just shimmied from limb to limb, hooked our bases on and jumped on them.
Yeah.
Tethered to the tree, and there we stood for a whole day or half a day, and I was like, then we got smart, and I was like, well, since there's 2 of us, I'll let my rope down and pull the top up to me.
Yeah.
So we
did wise up over the years.
So we didn't have to stand there for 4.5 hours. We could get off our feet for a second, sit down. But that's kind of how we just organically started hunting mobile, way before the mobile thing was like a really, what do you call it, prominent thing.
Yeah. And I remember whenever we opened the shop a couple of years ago, Derek Lee came in and was like, hey, check out this beast setup I've got.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we were like, that is awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, you're talking about getting, somewhere around the 13 or 14 pound range.
Right.
And
smaller.
Yeah.
Lighter.
And since then we have begun to shave down and change up things. And I mean, we were always, lighter, but we've really
that's where I said we were behind. We should have figured that out on our own, just because we're packing camera gear too. And if you can shave off 5 pounds off of your stand setup, that's a big deal when you're taking gear in.
Well, that's where you're very simplistic.
Yeah,
and minimalist.
I want it shaved.
And I'm like,
nakedness.
what if I start to smell while I'm up there? I might need some deodorant, like I bring everything you can think of. I'm like, what if my phone's about to die? Maybe I need a solar panel to,
bring with you.
Yeah. So,
well, we complimented each other in that because I never forgot anything.
And I forgot everything.
And you had enough stuff that when I thought it was nice to have a granola bar. You're right. It was nice. After 4 hours of sitting there and he's like, hey, I got some trail mix. I was like, oh, that is kind of nice. But I will never, seldom ever take the time to pack lunches. Even if I know, I was like, I may go in here and stay all day. I don't want to take food. I don't want to take water.
Yeah.
Now I have in the last 5 to 6 years been pretty notorious to take a cup of coffee with me in one of those sealed cups.
That is so funny, dude.
What's that?
So like the other day we did basically an all-day sit. We were separate but together.
We're all in the same same
and
area.
So what did you take into the woods with you to eat?
I didn't take anything.
Did you take any coffee?
Nope. I drank it before we got to the spot because it was a long drive.
I took a 24-ounce canister of coffee.
Well,
I took a 24-ounce canister of hot chicken noodle soup. I took 2 cans of fruit cocktail. And basically I sat up there and ate until I was like, all right, I'm out of food. Let's walk back to the truck.
Well, we went.
That's not typical, but
no, that's
it was normal. Freezing cold that day, so I wanted to make sure that I had calories.
And that's some big property that you go deep into. But so when we go there, it's like we're the few times we've been there, we're going to stay all day.
Yeah.
And me and Josh come in from the other side.
Yeah.
That's what you're saying when we were together, but not together. Me and Josh walked in from the other side of the property, and we went in with the intentions that we may stay all day.
Yeah.
Now our walk wasn't crazy far, so he was wanting to take all the food in.
Yeah.
I was like, he had made us 2 sandwiches left over from Thanksgiving ham. Very good. He had them packed in bags, and he had a whole gallon freezer bag of cheese crackers, peanut butter crackers, string cheese. He had all kinds of stuff. He's like, how much of this do you want? You take these.
Check this one out.
What's that?
Jay says, I love shooting with jerky in my mouth.
So Josh is getting all this stuff and we're divvying it out. I said, here's the way I want to roll.
Yeah.
I said, let's go in there with the idea we're going to set till 11. If it's hammering and it's happening, we'll stay in and we'll make it. And if it's not, let's get down 11. We'll come out and eat these sandwiches.
Yeah.
Of course, it was so cold that morning. And by 11, I was like, I texted Josh and said, where's the nearest cup of coffee? And he's like, 15 minutes. 15 minutes we can be to a cup of coffee. I was like, well, let's do that, because we had only seen one deer all morning. Nice buck come by me. But anyhow,
I was literally, it was so cold that morning that
you sent a picture of me with your boots off.
I took my boots off.
Yeah.
Yeah, because my toes were freezing. I was contemplating if I urinate on my toes, would it warm them up? So
I love to shoot.
Obviously with my boots on.
Jay likes to shoot with jerky in his mouth. Wes likes to shoot
with pee on my boots.
With pee on my boots.
Oh, man.
But anyhow, so Josh is like, you cannot go in there till 11.
And that's the evolution of my hunting.
He's like, you cannot go in there till 11 without food. So he gave me 2 granola bars.
He told me the other day, he's like, you and Lathan are going hunting together, right? And I was like, yeah. He's like, don't let him go on in without anything. He's like,
without food?
Yeah.
I go all the time, Josh, without food.
I don't know if he thought that wasn't safe, or I don't know. Make sure he's got his safety harness and a sandwich.
Here's the deal. I always wear a harness. Didn't wear them for years. There's an evolution.
That is an evolution. Yep.
My lands, I bet for the first 15 years.
Do you wear a harness now?
Oh, every time.
Well, no, you don't. Now you wear a saddle.
Well, a saddle, but it's essentially I'm tied.
It is, but that in and of itself is an evolution,
yes,
I feel like.
Yes, but let me go back, because probably for what? Man, we didn't wear a harness for the first few years. And then when we started filming,
Yeah.
We were like,
Well,
we
we
should probably wear a harness.
we had somebody call us.
I think
and-
we didn't wear a harness when we first started filming.
Yeah,
did we?
our first year, our first DVD came out, and we didn't wear a harness one. And somebody called us and was like, "You guys ought to be ashamed." And Craig was like, "Well, what do you mean we ought to be ashamed?" It's like, you're out there putting out videos and you don't have a harness on.
Felt like we could instigate people not to
Sure.
wear, or
So
being a good role model, I guess.
yeah, so Craig called HSS and
Hunter
explained
Safety
to them
System.
what we were doing, and they within days put some harnesses in the mail for us,
And we had harnesses.
and we became harness hunters. Yep.
Wearing safety belts. And you know, when I did that, the first time at first you're like, cumbersome, got to wrestle with it. I'm a minimalist. I don't want anything extra. Obviously, I wore it and I was like, I do feel safer.
Oh yeah.
You know, I feel
Yeah.
safer. And obviously,
See that limb out there, 7.5 feet? I'm going to lean against this tree and cut it.
that's what it became for me, wasn't it? I was like,
Uh,
I'm gonna let my lanyard all the way out. Watch this. Now I can get to that tree limb that's out there because I can hang from the safety. But anyhow, you took my thought. I had a wonderful thought.
Oh man,
But-
it's funny how you push the limits when you feel safer.
Right,
It really is.
right. Oh, I
Yeah.
was going to say I felt safer because I was safer. Because hitting the end of a lanyard could hurt you if you fell, but it's far better than hitting the ground at 15, 20, 18,
Oh,
25
man.
feet. So
You've had that happen a couple times too,
I
haven't
have fell, and I've been very blessed to get up and walk away from it, you know. So
you? I would love to have somebody who has fallen out on the show sometime to talk about that
to talk
and what
about-
that experience was like, and just to bring awareness to the importance of safety in the woods.
yeah, I'm on the show and I have fell out.
Yeah. Well, you know firsthand because of it.
Yeah, I probably, 22 years ago, give or take, right before we started Team Harvest and
Yeah.
made videos. And hello, Cody. Nice to see you on there. Me and my cousin Anthony were down at McLeansboro, place I hunted down there, and he was wanting to hunt. And I was like, "Oh, there's an old stand out here that we've had out here for a little bit." I said, "We should go out there and check it at noon." I said, "Because man, I haven't hunted it for a couple years."
Yeah.
And like a big numbskull, we walked out there because it was on a field edge. I thought we won't spook no deer, and if everything looks good or we need to trim, my mind was more like we might need to trim some limbs or something.
Yeah.
Because it could have grown around it. I just climbed up in it, said, "Looks good to me," stepped out on it, and I stood there about 3 seconds, and I was about 16, 17 feet, and it just dropped me like a
Yeah.
I think it was a chain. It wasn't a band. Remember, a lot of the old lock-ons had chains,
Yep.
but they had this system where
Yeah.
it was
You
like
put
a-
it in
it
between
was
two
like
fingers.
a fork, and the link hooked in that thing, and that tree had grown till that
Oh,
that
yeah.
fork had pulled apart, and I guess I was just hanging barely by a link, you know, before it slipped through there, and it just and I was gone.
Trapdoored you.
Trapdoored me, hit the ground, got up and walked off, but it hurt badly. And you know, we went ahead and hunted that evening, and I had a Loggy Bayou climber, the old Loggy.
See, a lot of people don't realize that Lathan actually has one leg that's about 2 inches shorter than the other one because of
Jammed
this.
it up around my ear. But anyhow, I went hunting that evening because, like I said, that was noon. Anthony was standing there. He watched me hit the ground. He's like, "Oh, my lens, are you okay? Oh my goodness, are you all right, man?" And I was like, "Well, I'm gonna roll over and get up. And if my pelvis ain't broke, I think I'm okay." I thought it broke my hip or my pelvis because I landed on my butt, but about drove my wallet all the way through to my ear.
I slid down the stairs one time and it felt like it.
But
Oh, man.
anyway, I was getting ready to say, I remember going that evening and climbing up in my Loggy, and I remember being very uneasy.
Yeah.
You know, it messed with my head, and I don't know why I didn't go straight then and get a safety harness, but it took me several years after that, and I'm sure, gosh, they've saved a lot of lives. So put on a safety harness.
Yeah.
But I have evolved now this year. I'm maybe a little late to the game, but we've got saddles. Here's one here that you're getting ready to sample, right?
Yeah.
But I have evolved to the saddle.
Saddle's a totally different thing because of the way you have to shoot out of it.
Yes, there's a learning curve to getting set up, obviously.
Yeah.
And then the movement in it, but it's not real hard. Now, I will say that I am not scared of heights. I'm not scared of hanging from lanyards and
Yeah.
going out on limbs like a squirrel to cut a limb or something like that. But the first time or two, I was like, it's a little awkward. And how much do I trust that little cord,
Sure.
that little knot thing? So there is an adjustment there.
You're definitely having to put your faith in some ropes.
You're hanging from it, and obviously they're all overbuilt. They're made probably way beyond the limits of what the human weight can put on it.
They could probably hold that, 600-pound twin sister show or whatever.
I don't know nothing about that, but I mean, most of them can probably hold a Black Angus cow. They're made so strong. I don't know. But anyway, it's just different. And then the movement's different because the weak side, what they call the weak side in the saddle, is a whole, learning how to get in position. Now you can shoot. I'll tell people out of the saddle what I've learned. I can shoot more than I can shoot out of a stand.
Can you?
I can shoot more angles. Oh yeah.
Huh.
You learn the movements and how to do them swiftly and how to get yourself in position. I can shoot the back side of the tree, the front side. You learn how to turn and shoot the weak side.
I envision you being like a Cirque du Soleil person up in the tree.
I catch myself playing at times when there's no deer around. I was like, I wonder if I can put my feet straight up.
I wonder if I can flip.
Yeah, I have. I put my feet straight up and hung my head upside. I mean, to some degree, you don't want to get too much.
Don't do this at home.
You could slip out of it, but and then every once in a while, remember when we were kids on the swing set and you get at the corner, and you swing to the other corner.
Yeah,
I find myself every once in a while doing that. It's like I'm going to get back in this corner.
Oh man,
and woo, swing to the other corner.
That's funny.
A lot of times before I get down, but. I'd say anybody that is interested in a saddle, get it. Don't do like I do. I'm like the type that I got it this evening, right? I'm going the next morning.
I'm pretty excited about transitioning to where the rest of my season is going to be saddle hunting.
Yeah, I would say now
well, I'm in a different boat because I'm bucked out now.
Yeah, but you're adapt enough to being mobile. You already know the stick setup.
Yes.
Running your sticks to get up the tree. So that's going to be no issue for you.
Yeah.
That would be the biggest learning curve for the saddle mobile hunter, the hang and hunt guy, is how to put sticks on a tree efficiently, go up that tree quickly and be in your stand without turning it into a big deal.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like the first time last year, we switched to the sticks and the XOP small stands, hanging hunts, and
which was awesome too.
Yes, but my first time out was in the dark of a morning.
Yeah, you told me, you was like, I don't know if this is going to be great.
I had never. That's what I was getting ready to say just a second ago. Was saddle and the sticks, man. Go do it in the yard or give yourself maybe an extra 30 minutes.
Yeah. Do it from 4 foot high instead.
Yeah. Don't do it like I did. I went out in the dark, and if you've hunted with me, very seldom is a flashlight ever turned on.
Yeah.
And I was out there with no light and in the darkness of the morning, and picked my tree out and I started going up it. And I was like, this is turning into quite the battle.
Yeah.
But now I would say I can almost probably go up a tree about as quick as a climber goes up. Now the motion of going up.
Have you seen the guys that do the one stick method?
Yes.
That's interesting.
There was a guy in here the other day said he did it.
Yeah.
I was like, dude, I don't know about that. He's like, I one stick it all the way up.
Yeah.
And I was like, and he explained it to me. Goes up to the top and relaxes in his saddle, undoes
Yes.
that stick, moves it up, and climbs up again. He's like, I carry one stick. I was
Man,
like, that seems
minimalist.
that seems crazy, but I run 4 sticks and I can.
Well, they do a 2-step aider.
Yeah.
And so as soon as they get 4 steps up, basically, then they hang on their saddle, pull that stick up, and put it up again, and then start that 4-step path.
Yeah, that's what he said. He said he does it quite a bit. He
Yeah.
said he don't do it all the time, but if you're going deep into, say, a big public land hunt or something like that, and you want to go way deep, well, if you can just pack 1 stick, that's shaving pounds off of your setup. So
well, and it makes it understanding why Tethered sells 1 stick.
1 stick.
Yeah.
They do sell 1 stick at a time, don't they?
Yeah.
But
because there's guys that's their method.
1 stick. Now,
1 stick.
I have not tried the 1 stick yet. So
The 1 stick is actually called
1 stick.
the one.
The 1 stick.
Yeah.
Yeah. I have not tried that. I will say that I do enjoy the saddle hunting. I do enjoy it. It's pretty comfortable. I'm not going to look at guys and be like, oh, it's the most comfortable thing I've ever done in my life, because there is nothing more comfortable than rocking back in a Summit Viper with the right seat on it. You're pretty comfortable in that thing.
Sure. It's a different type of hunting.
It's different.
Jay says that his son loves his. My question would be, Jay, do you feel like it would be for the young guys? Because that's the question that we've had.
Yeah.
Is it primarily a young guy thing?
Is it young? I don't
think it has to be.
I don't think it has to be.
Like, we've got guys in here that are, mid 50s, and they're talking about saddle hunting. We've got guys that are small guys that are saddle hunting. We've got guys that are larger guys saddle hunting.
Here's what I would say about that. I heard a sermon preached one time called "How Big Is Your Want To?"
Oh yeah.
And here's the deal: humans by nature, once we get to a certain age, or want to work at something, sometimes is not as big.
Sure.
So you got guys that's like, I have no desire to work that hard, because it's work. It's not like going out and climbing up a ladder and sitting on a big Millennium seat. It's not.
I had a hunt the other day where it was like everything that could go wrong went wrong.
I've had 2 or 3
and I
of
was
those.
standing at the tree like, what in the world?
Yeah. I had one the other day, right the first evening of that snow.
Yeah.
Went up the tree. Let's see. I got my 4th stick on, put my platform on.
Not the 1 stick.
No, I got my 4 sticks. I'm on top of my 4th stick, put my saddle platform on, and dropped the cam ratchet that holds the platform on.
Yeah.
It's like, are you bloody kidding me? so I was like, what can I do with this platform? Because I don't want to have to try to put it back on my back of my pack. So I found a little tree limb. I hooked the platform on it.
Yeah.
And I climbed back down to get, because I got to have it.
Sure.
So I get it, go back up, get the platform on, and almost in my this is something that normally may not happen, but if you got coffee with you, this happened to me. So I have that cup that's got the, that you can put in your pocket. It's got the seal top that won't leak.
Yeah.
So all of a sudden I feel all kinds of warm rushing floods on the outside. And I had strained to get up on that platform, and somehow in my pocket that lid popped open. So it's filling my pocket of my jacket, camouflage jacket, with coffee. So I get it stopped. I get the coffee stopped, and I was like, now I smell way of coffee, which I don't have a major problem with that, because deer smell you if they're downwind, whether you got coffee with you or not. And so I've got a pocket about lost half my coffee. And I was trying to decide what I'm more upset about, that I got my jacket soaked in coffee,
or that you don't have any coffee to drink.
I'm a half a cup shy, So I was like, I'm all right. I get that snap back on. I get on up there and get my saddle all situated. And when I rock back to make sure my saddle's seated, the coffee cup, because I didn't zip the pocket back up, shoots out of my cup or my pocket, and there goes my cup to the ground.
Oh man!
I want you to know what I did. Can you guess?
You climbed down and got it.
I took everything down.
Did you really?
I just took it all down. I was like, here's what I'm doing. I'm going to go watch this cornfield outside here around the corner, see if a nice one comes out there, just basically like a observation deal.
Yeah.
I was like, because I am done here. I was like, if I go down to get that cup, I don't even want to come back up this tree. It was like you were saying. It was like, and even small things in between.
I had a deal happen the other day where I set up my stand, and before I climbed up, I hooked my bag and my bow together on my pull-up rope because I was like, yeah, I'll just... And
we're making it sound real appealing. It is
so
awesome.
I started pulling it up, and I was like, this is too heavy for this line to pull this all up. So I lowered it back down, climbed it down, unhooked it from the bag, hooked it back to the bow, put the bag on my back, climbed it back up, started pulling up my bow. My bow got hung around a limb and it would not come off.
Yeah.
So I had to climb back down and do it all again.
I have a huge disdain for having to come back down.
I do too.
It's like I could drop my release that I have to have, and I would almost sit up there and be like, is there a way to get around this? But I don't have to climb down and get that. When no, you got to have it. And I haven't done that. But I just, if I drop something, like after I dropped that coffee cup, I was like, I have to go back down. You know what I'm doing, Lathan, when I go down? I'm unhooking this platform. I'm throwing it down, taking my sticks down, packing it back up, and I'm going out and watching that cornfield.
That's
and
funny.
I didn't see hardly nothing. But anyway, so hunting has evolved as a whole. It is quite different than it was. I guess, we probably should do what you said. We should probably just get together a bunch of buddies and be like, here's what we're doing. We're going hunting, and everybody's going to shoot whatever they see.
Yeah.
I'm not telling you to shoot a little buck if you don't want to shoot a little buck.
Sure.
When the does start pouring out, let's all kill a deer and take a picture together.
Yeah.
Or something to that nature.
Let's do that.
We should probably do that.
Yep. And get some buttons.
Yep. And we'll have Ultra Products buttons.
2025. Yeah. I like it.
If you bring your deer in, let us get a picture with you, or get your picture, or take your picture.
You get a button.
And essentially get to look at your deer, whether it's a doe, a fawn, 4-point, spike, 180 incher.
That idea excites me.
I like it. I like it a lot. I think that'd be a good place to wrap it up so I can go home and eat. Quit eating these sugar cookies or snickerdoodles or whatever they are.
All right. So this has been episode 45, Evolution of the Hunter.
And there's so much more than that. Gosh.
Oh, there is, because we've just touched on a few things that have been an evolution for us, but there's things that I'm sure other people would be like, yeah, and I've evolved the other direction. Maybe I was a mobile hunter, and now I've evolved more into some sits or some, locations and some hang-ons, because I know as time goes on and as the way you hunt and the mindsets change, even having kids, like my mindset has changed in regards to making sure that I do have several hang-ons for, my kids to get in.
Right. Ladder
and I still set them up with doubles, and here's the reason why. Because they almost always want to go with a friend.
Right.
So I make sure that it's a, either a buddy or it's a single man stand with a hang on the other side.
Right.
I think that's awesome, because I want to cultivate camaraderie within the woods. So I think that's what we've had, and I want to make sure that other people can have it too.
Yeah.
So buttons for everyone. So
that kills a deer.
All right. This has been episode 45, Evolution of the Hunter. We appreciate you guys tuning in. Jay Wallace, Rodney Hawkins. There's been several of you guys. Cody Thomason tuned in, Dwight Klein, Andrew Wilkinson. And guys, we appreciate it so much. If you wouldn't mind, on Facebook, please share it. Share it with on your own page. Let people know what we're doing here. We're trying to grow this, and we've got a lot of things that we're really wanting to do that I mean, I feel like it an important part of it is getting people bought into it. So,
Right on.
yeah. So thank you guys so much for watching. We'll be back next week, and I'm sure it will be fantastic as always. And again, thank you guys so much. You guys have a great evening. Kill a big one tomorrow. The Orange Army will be out in full force. So
Bring it in and let us see it. If you
that's
get
right.
him.
No buttons this year, but next year buttons.
Buttons
So
for
have a good one,
everybody.
guys. We appreciate it. Peace out. Bye bye.
Bye-bye.